So you see very strong testimonies, very very rich. Watching it again, I felt again how powerful these testimonies are. And again, these videos are going to be available for all of you to watch again if you want to deepen one or the other aspects of what you've just heard. Now, Carlos has accepted to give us a brief kind of input, just a way of starting a bit the conversation, having watched the video of the interview beforehand. So Carlos, is up to you.
Hi everyone. I think I feel overwhelmed for the amazing videos and materials, you know, and I say, well, I feel a little inadequate. How much can I contribute to this? But let me before going into that, share something, because I'm sorry, Luigi, if I share this, but I think it's worth, because it's meaningful. When Luigi texts me if I can make a contribution today, I think I was a little busy, so I can move things. But I was a little, myself, was a little, I don't know if upset, because I didn't know that Pippa was coming. And I was knowing that Sion was coming, and I don't know, Sion, it's not about you, but I said, what about women? And then I said, well, I need to be brave. So when Luigi asked me this in one way, I asked, but what about women? And I think that he laughed and says, well, see the video, Carlos. And it's also a great gift for me, because I know Pippa. I didn't know that she will be here. And also, it was also talking about me, what I was projecting into Luigi, because, you know, growing up as a Roman Catholic, I had the pleasure to meet with Pippa when she was at St. John Hyde Park. And it was my first experience of a woman in ministry. So thank you. And I wanted to share that. Maybe my question, I have a couple of questions for you that come from the presentation, and it's great. Pippa, I get touched when you share with us, you say, I'm not worthy. And I think I get to understand what happened, how you created, how you feel now about that. What you will say now after 26 years, or what you will say to the Pippa 26 years ago now about this.
Well, you know, I was thinking about it, you know, we're in Petertide at the moment, and we've had all the ordinations of the deacons and priests. And I remember a few years ago, someone saying, well, I should have heard this many years before, but you know, that we should always be looking to encourage people who might be called to the priesthood, and you never know where that's going to come from. And I went to the ordinations of the diaconate on Saturday in the cathedral, and it was really wonderful. And I was invited by someone who's actually getting ordained through HTB, but she'd done a placement with us to get us a slightly different experience. And I mean, I'll never forget saying that to my priest, my wonderful priest in New York, who's now about to retire as Bishop of Pittsburgh, actually. And it just, I guess he made me feel, he reminded me that whether we're worthy or not, it's not about, you know, whether I'm, you know, important enough or right for this role. It's just that God is calling us. God is calling all of us in different ways. And I guess I was very hesitant for a while about the priesthood, partly because I'd grown up in England where I hadn't seen women deacons, let alone priests. And so when I got to the States and I was at Yale and surrounded by women in ministry, it just really opened up things for me, but it still took a while to sink in. And I realize now actually how important it is to mention that to other people, to say to others, you know, might you have a calling? I mean, to really open that up to others in the world, and not to just think that it's a I don't know where I'm going with this quite, but I still feel that in one sense I'm not worthy, but I also know that God calls us and uses us, and I do believe I've been called and used in many ways in the last 26 years or so.
Thank you. No,
Thank you,
Pippa.
thank you, Pippa. Yes, so Carlos, you had a question also for Sean?
I think I have a question for Sean because thank you, Sean. I really like it a lot, what you share also about leadership, you know, and I think maybe my question to you is, because you say that you have been almost a year or a year and a half, you know, and if you look today and you look before, what is different? How you integrated both? You know, how is that you integrated and how you use your past to make it in ministry? You know.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it immensely, and that's it feels right, and I think I kind of knew that, and therefore it's the thing that I do in my life when I do explicitly priestly things that is most happy making and feels whole. So from that point of view, it's super. I guess that I do bring the, I'm quite unsentimental about things. I can be shockingly unpastoral at times. And I'm sitting here listening to Philippa's contributions in the video and thinking, oh, my goodness, I'm an awful angular person. But I'm conscious that also bits of being less sentimental about stuff and more to the point, which I think have been necessary in terms of working for the church in other ways, is a helpful contribution, because there's this big rescuer tendency in clergy very easily that we kind of call pastoral, and to stop falling into that gap, I think, is helpful. So I think just a little bit of steel in the soul is a helpful thing, and that's part of my carryover, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Carlos. One aspect of priesthood, especially in terms of guiding a community, but also being, you know, in any position of responsibility over other people, seems to me, is, specifically in a Christian context, is that it's not so much a question of the power I have, but the extent to which I empower other people. And particularly in Christianity, if we really believe that the community, the life of the community is the Holy Spirit, it is a question of really helping people to find their call or their gifts and putting them at the service of the community. Knowing, and it seems to me that, especially Pippa, when you talked about your vocation, this was the case. You felt something, but it was really other people encouraging you and telling you, you have this gift that really gave you the strength to, you know, go forward. So I'd like to ask to both of you, how can we, in the life of the church, especially in the ministry of priests today, develop this aspect, which I would kind of express in the sense of, rather than focusing on whatever power or authority we have, empowering the people who are entrusted to our care. Pippa, I don't know if you want to start, and then Sean can say something.
Well, I realise that that's probably something I've not been very good at doing over the years. Although when I think about my time in New York when I was in a parish, there were various people that we did support through the ordination process and journey. And but I just remember being conscious of, when I came back here to England, it was at some diocesan meeting or something, and just the call that we really have responsibility, and perhaps particularly around Petertide, to be looking out for those who we might think have a particular calling to the priesthood, and to really open up that door for others. And I just realized that's something I've perhaps been a bit neglectful of. Although I remember when I was a university chaplain, and there were times when I thought that some of my students who were going training to be doctors or vets, I thought, oh, I think they have a vocation to the priesthood. And yet, that was slightly challenging, because I didn't, they had a vocation to medicine, to veterinary medicine, or to, human medicine. And yes, also I know people who are doctors and priests and vets and priests and have done everything. I don't know how they do it all, but they do. And so in that sense, it was about supporting them in where they felt their vocation was, in whatever that was, whether it was to be, medicine or not. So, but it's just something I've just been more conscious of. I realize I need to really look out in the world and really encourage people. I mean, rather than just waiting for people to come and talk to me about it, something that to see if that I may notice that call in others, and not to be shy to mention it.
Thank you, Pippa. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, let me answer it in a slightly weird way, perhaps. I think that one of the things that has happened to me during the pandemic is that I see God everywhere now. I think that disruption to some of our familiar ways of encountering the divine has, for me, just ignited within me, made really quite real for me, that sense that creation isn't something that happened at the beginning. It's happening all the time, and that God is involved in everything all the time, not in a hands-on way, but as a first cause that is always the first cause. And I wonder whether some of that is helpful from the perspective of us all having a role, as all being engaged, a responsibility on all of us, and that possibly some of the I'm enjoying so much being back in church, but I also want to hold on to something of what we were challenged to do in terms of how we understand, locate, and engage with God outside of church and in everyone and everything.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to both of you. Time has gone very quickly, as you can notice. When the conversations are interesting and nourishing, this is always the case. I really want to express on behalf of everyone here our appreciation and our gratitude to Pippa and Sean. Thank you so much for your time and your testimony. And this is going to resonate with us for a long time. To everyone else, again, this conversation and the videos you've just watched are going to be on the blog online, and you can watch them anytime with some bibliographical suggestions. And you are all invited, as always, to our evening prayer at 6 o'clock every evening, again, starting from tomorrow. And I just announced to you that next week we are going to talk about the third aspect of ministry, so the episcopate, so the role of bishops. And we are going to, of course, have a conversation with our own Bishop Michael, whom I had lunch with today and is very, very happy to contribute. And also with the Bishop Monmouth, Cherry Ban, and this is going to give us another complementary aspect about this. So thank you again to everyone for being here tonight, and to all of you, I wish a very lovely evening. Bye-bye.